Hey fam, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be another ingredient meal prep video. Y'all, last week worked out so well, we're doing it again. If you're new here, my name is DeeDee. I've been able to lose 95 pounds and meal prepping has been a huge part of that success. Having something that I can just easily heat up has definitely helped me stay on track. Let me share what's on the menu this week. So first we have some oven-baked juicy pork chops. We also have some tender turkey necks. Y'all know I love me some turkey necks. And we got some juicy ground turkey meatballs. Y'all, that's what we have for our protein. As far as veggies, we have some sautéed cauliflower rice, and we also have some oven roasted broccoli. That's our menu for the week. Let's jump right into this meal prep. We're starting off with these big old pork chops, y'all. These were on sale in my local Aldi, and you know I had to cop them. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and season. These are my staple seasonings: garlic powder, onion powder, red cayenne ground pepper, some Creole seasoning, some Goya total seasonings, and some ground black pepper. So all I do is just place it on one side, make sure it's fully seasoned, flip those pork chops over, and we are doing the same exact thing. So I always tell y'all I love these staple seasonings for me because it gives me that taste that I'm looking for, but go ahead and use what you want. Oh, I also added some salt. I've been trying to slow down on the salt just a little bit, but I decided to sprinkle a couple of pinches of salt on both sides just to add to that flavor. And here, I just grabbed half of a green bell pepper. Y'all know I love me some bell peppers. I love the colorful ones as well, but I seem to gear towards the green bell pepper on every single recipe, it seems like. So I'm just using half of a green bell pepper here, and I'm just slicing it up and placing it in both of these pans. I also grabbed about a fourth of an onion, a yellow onion, and I'm doing the same thing, placing them in both of these pans. So initially, I was going to put all of the pork chops in one pan, but these pork chops are so big, y'all, they would not fit, and I didn't want to crowd the pan too much. So I just split it into two batches, and I'm doing the same thing for both pans. Another step that I usually take is add a little bit of butter so that that sauce and that gravy at the end could be nice and juicy and full of flavor. So I take about half a tablespoon of butter and I slice it up on both sides. I place them in the corner, and then I also add some broth, a cup of broth to each of these pans. Today I'm using chicken broth. You can use beef broth, you can use vegetable broth, whatever you want. And I'm also taking about half a cup of water and I'm placing it in to balance out that flavor, okay? You don't want it too salty. Now we're headed over to the oven. I had my oven preheating on 375 degrees. I'm gonna go ahead and place both pans in here. We're gonna start off at 40 minutes bake time. And then we're moving on to these big old juicy turkey necks. Y'all, look at all that meat on those turkey necks. I grabbed these turkey necks from my local butcher, and now all I'm doing is seasoning it as well with my staple seasonings. Y'all, I usually don't measure at all. Maybe this is about a tablespoon of seasoning, but the reason why I typically don't measure, I eyeball, is because I know the amount of flavor that I want, and I always let y'all know. Put whatever seasonings work for you because you have to like it, okay? If you don't like it, it is not going to be a sustainable way of eating. But it's about a tablespoon of all of these seasonings. And all I'm doing here is just rubbing that flavor, rubbing those ingredients all over the turkey necks. I'm even grabbing the little bit of seasoning that's on the bottom because we're not wasting no seasoning, okay? So after seasoning your turkey necks, I just went ahead and went over to that Instant Pot. I'm adding a little bit of extra virgin olive oil to the bottom of that pot, and then we're gonna go ahead and put it on saute mode. I like to use this little brush just to make sure that oil is all over the bottom of the pot. And I put it on saute mode. After about 2 to 3 minutes, that oil is hot, and then I'm placing these turkey necks right on in. So the purpose of this is just to sear it. I'm searing these turkey necks, getting them like that little bit of brown color, that crisp, for about 2 to 3 minutes on all sides. You can definitely follow this step if you choose to. This is the nice color, the nice brownness that it gives you, but some people actually decide to do the step at the end. So what you could do is you can grab these turkey necks at the end, place them in the oven under broil for about 3 minutes to get that crisp and that brownness as well. But once I've seared them for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side, that's what they look like. And then I take all of the turkey necks out because I want to start working on that gravy. This is the nice brown color that I'm looking for, not burnt, okay? And we know it's not cooked, but we're just gonna take these out and we're gonna move on to the next step. So what I do next typically is add about a cup of broth and you start deglazing the pan. I also add about half a tablespoon of butter and a little bit of minced garlic, probably about half a tablespoon of minced garlic. Now, once this water starts to boil, the deglazing process is so much easier. You can easily just scrape up those bits that's on the bottom of that pot. That's gonna help get that flavor into that gravy. And then I'm just placing those turkey necks right back into that pot because we are almost ready to start the pressure cooking process. First though, I'm gonna add just a little bit of onion. This is probably a fourth of an onion, and I'm just adding that just to infuse into that flavor while those turkey necks pressure cook. I'm also adding a little bit of green bell pepper. This is about a fourth of bell pepper. Y'all know I love me some onions and bell pepper in almost every single recipe, so you know I had to add it to here as well. I'm adding some paprika, a little bit of Creole seasoning for flavor, and y'all, that's what it looks like before we start to pressure cook. So I'm gonna go ahead and place that top on. I'm also checking just to make sure it is sealed because you don't want it on vent mode. And then I'm putting it on pressure cook mode for 45 minutes and we will be back. So while that's cooking, I have my eggs boiling on the stove. This is the process I've been following lately. Just place those eggs in boiling water, put that salt in that water, y'all, and just let it cook for about 10 to 12 minutes. This has really been working for me and it's easy to peel. Now let's check on those pork chops. They've been in there for about 40 minutes. And that's what they look like. You know those pork chops ain't cooked yet, not at all, but they are in the process, okay? Pending final results. All I do is flip it over because I want it to be cooked evenly on both sides, putting them back in for another 40 minutes. Eggs are ready, y'all. They've been boiling on that stove for about 12 minutes. Now I'm just placing them into an ice bath so we can stop the cooking process. And that's it, y'all. Let's move right on over to our turkey meatballs. All right. So starting off with these meatballs, I have about half of an onion, and my goal here is to just go ahead and cut them up or slice them up as small as possible. I did see somewhere that you can actually use a cheese grater and that'll give you what you're looking for, but I decided to just slice them up with this knife. I'm hoping it's okay. Okay, I'm trying to do my best to make them as small as possible because I don't want big chunks of onions in my meatballs. I just want that onion flavor, okay? So that's our onions right there. I grab a big old bowl and I'm placing the chopped up onions right in there. I'm also placing a little bit of minced garlic, probably about half a tablespoon of minced garlic. I'm putting in some parsley flakes. Now, if I had fresh parsley, that would have been much better, but this is what we have right now. I'm putting in a third cup of breadcrumbs and a third cup of heavy whipping cream. Now, you can use any type of milk you want, 2%, regular milk. I'm just used to using heavy whipping cream, so that's why I use that. I'm mixing that in as best I could. Then I'm adding my egg, and I'm also adding about a fourth cup of Parmesan cheese. I'm adding a little bit of salt, and I'm adding a little bit of black pepper. And then, y'all, I'm just mixing everything right together. That egg and that cheese is gonna bind everything together. I'm using a fork because I definitely want all of that egg to be fully mixed in. I'm doing all of this before I actually start mixing in the ground turkey, and that's because you really don't want to over mix that meat. So I mixed in all of the ingredients before, and now all I'm doing is really folding that meat in, folding everything together. All right, y'all, let's get started on these meatballs. Now, the first thing I do is I place a little bit of aluminum foil on my sheet pan for easy cleanup. Okay, ain't nobody trying to be scraping the pan afterwards. We just want to go ahead and throw that foil out. Then I'm grabbing like a little ice cream scooper just to make sure that the meatballs are kind of similarly sized. Now, initially, I was going to use 2 pans, but then I decided, this one pan will take them all. I grabbed a little bit of water, placed it on my gloves, and now all I'm doing is trying to form these into nice little round shaped meatballs, okay? You can definitely use your hands, but the way my nails are set up, I just decided to just leave the gloves on. You also wanna make sure you leave a little bit of space in between those meatballs. I'm using a little bit of extra virgin olive oil on top of them just to make sure there's a little bit of crisp And now we are headed over to that oven. I have my oven preheated at 400 degrees. And then we're gonna check in on these pork chops, y'all. They've been in there for 40 minutes on both sides and they look so good. These pork chops are cooked, but for me, I like that nice brownness on both sides. So we're placing them in for about 3 minutes under broil. We got our pot on the stove boiling and we are about to steam our broccoli. This broccoli is gonna steam for about 8 to 10 minutes. Now I've already steamed my rice cauliflower in the microwave. So now I'm gonna place it in a strainer so that it can drain some of that water out. Now let's get these pork chops out of the oven, okay? 3 minutes has passed. Y'all, these pork chops smell so good and they look so good, okay? I know they're gonna taste delicious. Fam, look at these pork chops. Tell me they don't look good. Tell me these pork chops don't look good. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna place them to the side. Let's move back over to these veggies. I'm placing a little bit of extra virgin olive oil into this skillet. I have my burner set to medium heat. We're gonna allow this oil to get hot really quick, but let's go check on that broccoli. So that broccoli has been steaming for about 8 to 10 minutes and it's pretty much cooked already. We're gonna take it out of this pot. Y'all know I've been trying to up my fiber, so I've been loving this broccoli life. I'm taking it out of the pot and I'm gonna place it directly into a strainer just to get some of that water out before we move over to the oven. Our oil is hot and now it's time for us to place that cauliflower rice right on in. As I shared before, we already steamed this rice, y'all, in the microwave, so it is good to go. All I'm doing here is just mixing it into this olive oil because I want that crisp. It's something about cauliflower rice that has a little bit of crisp and brownness to it that just gives me life, okay? So that's all I'm doing here. You also want it to have some flavor, so I'm gonna definitely put my staple seasonings in here. You can put just salt and pepper if you choose so, but I decided to put a little bit of garlic powder and onion powder because that's just how I like my cauliflower rice to taste. So you can see that the water has evaporated pretty much. All I'm doing is letting it saute on medium-low heat on this stove, and we're gonna let that saute for about 2 to 3 minutes. And when we come back to check on it, y'all, this cauliflower rice is done. It's nicely browned, it's sauteed, and it is looking good. Okay, we're gonna move this off of the burner, and now it's time for us to finish prepping our broccoli. I'm following the same process as before for easy cleanup. I'm placing some aluminum foil on this sheet pan. I did spray the sheet pan with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil so that our broccoli doesn't stick to the bottom. And then I'm placing my strained broccoli right in here. I want the broccoli to have a little bit of flavor, but all I'm doing is using simple seasonings. I'm putting a little bit of salt and a little bit of black pepper onto this broccoli, and then all I'm gonna do is just mix it right in. That's it. You don't really need much to it, especially when you know you're gonna be pairing it with some type of protein that's gonna have a lot of flavor to it as well. So I'm just mixing it up and then trying to spread it apart as best that I can. We're going to that oven. The oven has been preheating on 400 degrees, and we're gonna leave this broccoli in for about 12 minutes. Y'all, let's check on these meatballs. Oh. Nicely browned. The meatballs are done. We're gonna place that to the side and go back to those turkey necks. Y'all, the turkey necks are done. It smells so good in this kitchen. Now, it naturally released for about 15 minutes. That's what it looks like, y'all. These turkey necks are so juicy. All right, let's get back to this broccoli. The broccoli is ready, and this is what it looks like. It has that nice brown crisp that I'm looking for. That's the fiber I need in my life. All right, y'all, I'm gonna place this to the side and I'm gonna show you what my full spread looks like. And this is our spread for our ingredient meal prep for the week, y'all. Front and center, we have our oven-baked juicy pork chops, y'all, looking so good and smelling so good in this kitchen. We also have our tender turkey necks that we just made in that Instant Pot. We got our boiled eggs for easy grab and go, and we got our juicy ground turkey meatballs as well. As far as veggies, we have our crispy sauteed cauliflower rice, and for our fiber, we have our oven roasted broccoli. Y'all, this ingredient prep for the week is healthy, it is filling, and I am so ready to dig in. Fam, that's it for this week's ingredient meal prep. We kept it simple, realistic, and we got a whole lot done. Every week, I try my best not to overcomplicate this journey. So this week, I got a whole lot of food that I can just grab and we just mix and match, and I am good to go. And if you take anything from this video, besides the recipes and the meal ideas, please remember this: you do not need a perfect plan. You just need a plan that works for you. This is how I've been able to stay consistent, lose the weight, and keep this weight off. Simple, repeatable, and sustainable. Which one of these meals today are you trying first? The turkey necks, the pork chops, or the meatballs? I wanna know. Also, are you meal prepping this week? If so, what is it? Drop it in the comments below. I wanna know what you're cooking, okay? Your sis wants to know. All right, fam, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.